Right, and here's a new plant buy online, and this is with a company in the Netherlands, and I think the pronunciation is Gilian plants, or maybe it's Gillian, I'm not too sure. You'll have to forgive my pronunciation. So I'll just call it Gillian plants in the Netherlands. Right, so what I was buying were very small banana pups, and you might see in a couple of videos back, I have it titled Giant Tropical Jungle Plants for Sale up in Johnstown Garden Centre. And this banana here is Mekong Giant, and this is, I think it's Nagensium, I think it's called. And you'll see the full-sized or huge big bananas like this one here for sale up in Kildare in Johnstown Garden Centre, but they were extremely expensive, so I just took a chance on buying the small pups, and I'm going to plant these in each of the barrels. So I'm going to be removing the equivalent of 3 bags in each of the barrels here of the old compost, and putting a fresh load in. Right, so because these pups are so small, I'm actually just going to pot them up into bigger pots before I put them into the barrels, but I'll have the barrels ready for them anyway with the new compost. So this is the Mekong Giant. Not much of a giant now, but I'm just after teasing out some of the roots so they can find their way into this fresh new compost. And this is really rich stuff, this compost here. So I'm going to plant it up in this pot. Right, so I have Musa Nagensium potted up here. Some new compost, and Musa Itinerans Mekong Giant potted up in there, and they're both reportedly as hardy, if not hardier, than the Musa Basjoo. So fingers crossed that I get some big plants with these. Right, so I've just started to clear out the barrels, because there's been a lot of like big bananas and pups and other plants in it, and it's just time to freshen them up. So I'll keep cracking on with this. Right, so this old compost I'm not going to waste or throw out, just going to recycle it into another bed, and I'm going to put it into this bed here, which is a really dry bed, just as a mulch, and let the worms and stuff do their job. And the more mulch you have on the ground, the less watering you have to do. So just with the whiskey barrels, if you get whiskey barrels you're planning on planting up in them, you're going to have to clean them out, because they all have like a charcoal burnt feel and smell to it. Well, actually the smell is they smell like whiskey, but this is what I put on the inside of it. It's a bitumen paint, just to protect the wood itself, because years and years ago we had a wine barrel and we put paint and stuff, which varnish, that doesn't work at all. So far so good. This stuff here has sealed up the barrels and has stopped them from rotting. So it's an Everbuild blackjack bitumen paint. So here's the barrels. As you can see, we're it's got a couple of coats, and the stuff hasn't come off. You know, it hasn't fallen away or rotted away, and these are getting absolutely soaked. And I think this wood is oak or some hard timber. Right, so I'm down to about 2 feet in depth, and I'm still finding the roots of the Musa Basjoo. So I think that's one of the benefits, one of the successes of how well they've done here, and how big they can get if you leave them here. And they just keep, the Musa Basjoo that I have anyway, they just keep throwing out pup after pup after pup, and there's just a massive source of food and moisture with this farmyard manure compost, that the roots are just going down, constantly going down, that they mightn't be able to get to if they're out in the soil, because after a foot you're hitting subsoil, and then you could be hitting stone and gravel and stuff like that. So they have a deep reservoir here in these barrels. I don't know what, 1, 2, 2.5 feet tall, 3. These are big whiskey barrels, and the roots are at the end of them. So I'm just going to recycle all this compost. I'd say I'm probably going to need even more. I'm going to clear out all of this altogether, right down to the end. Right, so while I'm out here looking after the barrels, I've added the Nagensium here in the back, close to the fascia on that side, and one in here. I'm going to water them in. I put five of the farmyard manure bags, cleaned the whole barrel out, so everything in there is all fresh and good to go. So fingers crossed that pup, one of each, they get bigger as soon as possible. I can get them planted up here and they can stay here. I'll do this barrel on another day.